Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Well, we got here about 6 topics. One of them that I really care about a lot is Candace Owens. And I spoke about her situation that she is in, and I'm glad that she picked up that direction. And I will tell you what happened with her in Australia. Australia is not a free country. We are not. I mean, they call us limited freedom and all that. I think it's even worse than calling our freedoms limited. I think barely having freedoms. Temporary privileges. These are our rights. So let's start with the first topic. I'm going to enumerate the topics and then we're going to go in detail. The first one, and I've been saying this for some time, maybe a few years already, and you can check my videos. The West is in denial about BRICS. I said this, yeah, they're in denial, or they're scared shitless and impotent. Therefore, they try to minimize it and obviously go into denial phase. Second one, we have Zelenskyy, or Zelenskyy, because his name is written with 2 Y's at the end. I don't know why. Probably because it's something like that, or I don't know, ask them, the ladies of the night, and considers BRICS attendees in Russia as pro-Russian. It's very strange to be, how do you call it, so just bipolar. It's A or B. Sometimes that's in between, or even more than A and B, but it depends. Depends on your worldview. And Zelenskyy thinks that if you are not with him and you do something else, if you don't love him, that means you hate him. Basically, I want to discuss that one. In the same breath, this Zelenskyy tells us that India can stop the war, right? Just like that. Not he or the Americans, India. I'm going to show you how India can do it, because Zelenskyy said so. Now we're going to talk about Candace Owens, unfortunately, but, you know, with sacrifice, the rewards are bigger in the satisfaction. I want to show you a little bit of another freedom of speech on X, where we have the Iranian Supreme Leader's account being suspended. Why? Because he used a different language than Farsi or whatever language he is supposed to use. I have 2 articles on that one. Now we have Donald Trump, who I think is talking smack or BS. Why? He says he promises not to fight foreign wars. Or that makes me like that. Really? Really? You don't know who's gonna pay you and who can take you off your little thing? Well, we're going to discuss that one. You know what I mean? He's not going to fight foreign wars. Why, it's going to be only domestic wars? Or he's not going to fight for other countries' wars. Is that what it means? I know at least one that would make us fight their war. And then Donald Trump says that he would have prevented Hamas attack on Israel. What was the other title? Trump promises not to fight foreign wars. And the second one is Trump claims he would have prevented Hamas attack on Israel. Why do you care? It's their thing. Oh, bad. Because he's the American of the Americans. Next one. They claim some are upset with Joe Rogan. You know, Joe Rogan? All right. I know him too. So Joe Rogan had Donald Trump on his podcast, and some people call Joe Rogan a coward. We're going to discuss that. Next one, Iraq, the country of Iraq, where we brought freedom and democracy, because they asked us to do that with your money and your children or parents or whatever they were, files a complaint with United Nations over violation of its airspace by Israeli aircraft during the attack on Iran. Don't be fooled. This is for the baboons. We're not baboons here. That's not what it is. I tell you who made Iran allow the Israelis violate their airspace in order to strike Iran. Because why? Because Iran said, who opens his airspace to the Israelis are our enemies. So these guys say, well, we protest against the violation. What will happen? I tell you what will happen. It starts with an N. That is nothing. And I will explain why. We have Mr. Robert Fico, the courageous leader of Slovakia, kind of like Orban. He tells us that more attempts on his life are available over there, how to call it, warns of continued attempts on his life. Well, once CIA wants you, no. But I hope it's not CIA involved. No, and it's not. It's snot. All right, let's go to the first article. Russia Today. The West is in denial about BRICS. The week marked a turning point for the organization, and this will become apparent with time. The main takeaway from the 16th BRICS summit in Kazan is that all of us who gathered there this week witnessed a turning point in the history of the association. The results of the summit suggest that the group has made a very serious attempt to change the international order. I said this for some time. I agree with that. Well, but the West is in denial. They said, if you remember, I covered that a few days with John Kirby, a baboon, a weasel, actually, but he makes money from our taxes. He said that we're not care about BRICS. BRICS is nothing. The same thing they said before. We don't care about the Russians and the Chinese over there. We fight against pronouns and self-identification and clipping our balls. That's more important. And the family must be, the Russians and Chinese being in an alliance, that's non-important to you. Because why? Our media operatives tell you that. Remember, the media can make from the least important snipping balls FOD, is that how you call it? FOD, trend. They can make it the most important, like America breeds those balls. Make it the most important. Or let's say an invasion of your country on some borders, make it the unimportant thing. Why? Because they're not over there to inform and work for us, for the truth. They're over there paid by private institutions who own them. How? With shares, shareholders. Do you think that if I'm going to be a shareholder at, let's say, NBC, those guys will say something about my long nose or my small balls? No, they will. Emily's oh my God, look how short. No, he's got the beak. He doesn't have a beak. He's just. All right. So yes, they live in denial, my friends. They don't understand what's going on. They understand. It's just that they can't tell us what's going on, because then even the baboons will be awakened from their flea picking. You say BRICS is a threat? How did we get to that? Because of you, because of the previous administration and the previous administration. So why we were paying you for? How to enrich yourselves? American democracy. This must be changed. Next one. Zelenskyy, you know how you used to start the cars in, the 20s and or 10. Zelenskyy considers BRICS attendees in Russia pro-Russian. Well, it's dangerous to paint. We all make and will make this mistake at times. When we generalize and we include everybody, in trying to make a point, make it stronger. So he thinks that all the attendees in Russia is pro-Russian. Remember, this BRICS is not Russia's organization. From the get-go, it's a fallacy, it's an imbecile statement. Why? Because there are countries over there who really are not pro-Russia, are pro-themselves. But Zelenskyy wants you to be pro-him because he is at the orders of the guys in charge of him. So now it's a division. It's, as I said, it used to be the scramble for Africa. Right now it's a scramble for this planet. Big one. And it's more dangerous than the Cold War was before, because those guys, remember, with technology, and not only, things are, and with more infiltration in various countries, you have a bigger threat. I'm talking about immigration. So yeah, I don't think that these are all pro-Russian. And why are they pro-Russian again? Is it bad? Well, you say yes because you are in the midst of it. You are a peon that is played by others. But if you look at any country, any individual, it has good things and bad things. So in this case, BRICS, I think, is a positive development on this planet. Why? You don't like tyranny, do you? You don't like monopoly, do you? Of course, you don't like that. You like diversity. We're told here that diversity is our strength. Therefore, diversity of thought, diversity of options. You go to a store and you buy some shoes. You don't have only Nike, one pair. You don't want that. Like in America, you have two-party system. And it's the best, we're told. But this party system, if you look from this side, it becomes one from two, uno. All right? So uno. It's okay, but if you go like that, if you think like that, from one comes zero. From many, a pluribum unum, right? From many, one. Exactly, from many parties to one. Why? Because it's better to have only mommy and daddy. Another reason, I'll just go to, in this case, only mommy. That's another reason why I always was like, I didn't buy this argument of the monotheistic religion, calling us that it was a fantastic creation of the goat herding mind in the Middle East coming. And I'm talking about, remember, those guys were goat herding over there. I mean, they didn't know what to do. They were shepherds and so on. So they came with it, monotheistic. That's how it was. And it's something that we like. It's superior than, more than one polytheistic, I was trying to find a word, polytheistic view of the world. Therefore, your gods, like, the ancient gods, Zeus and all those imbeciles, are not good. It's a primitive way. But a tyrant, instead of having, one tyrant and others that you can have an option a little bit, it was bad. Why? Who wrote this for you? Who writes this curriculum? Remember? The same guys. The same guys. So obviously that monotheistic religion is better. Why the fuck is it? You can obviously understand that I'm against this kind of foreign influence on the European civilization. And I am. I'm not a believer in, and there's something, but I can't explain what it is, but definitely is not what these guys are telling us. But at least we had our gods, the way we thought they are, according to our culture, to our civilization. We borrowed some different thought, right, that's for something else. Now, let's go and see how India can stop the war in Ukraine, according to Zelenskyy. Here it is. Ukrainska Pravda. India can help end war in Ukraine by blocking Russian economy. This European right here. And he has this Ukrainian shirt with Ukrainian motifs. I know someone, I can't tell you now. I will tell you only when I'm going to be cornered. And I'm waiting for that when I get bigger. Not bigger like that, but bigger. And I will. I will tell you, I will use certain big aces I have right here in my sleeve that I'm not going to use yet. I know someone very dear to me who's dead, unfortunately. If he would be alive and seeing this person in charge of his nation, he would go and pick up an AK-47 and fight the Russians. He didn't like the Russians, man. He didn't like the Russians. But I guarantee you that he wouldn't have agreed with this democratic way of putting some in charge of your nation. No, I don't think so, especially these guys. All right, so India can fix it by not buying Russian oil. That's the whole point here. But this guy, it starts on the premises that he's on the right side of history, which it's more nuanced than that. I don't think Zelenskyy is a good influence for Ukraine whatsoever. I think if we are allowed to really assess and write history, the way, with all the evidence we have, he could be called a criminal at one point. He, I think, got the Ukrainian nation in a war against their brothers at the orders of interests that are not Ukrainian, but more related to him. So he wants India. India will not give a shit because India is too smart. And it's India for the Indians, right? So Modi is already gone, but he's still saying this because now it's painting India as being bad. Why? They don't follow the orders Ukraine is following, or Romania is following, or other countries in Europe. Next one, let's go to my dear Candace Owens. Russia Today, controversial, US pundit denied entry to Australia. I'm not surprised, my friends. I have other people that I like, people that I admire. Some of them, some of them still alive, who were denied or incarcerated. Okay, that's me. Incarcerated in various so-called free countries because they said something. Not inciting to violence. They said that, I don't think these are good glasses. Or I don't think these glasses should cost $3,000. No, these glasses are excellent glasses. That's the word you have to use for these glasses. And they did cost $3,000. Not 3,001, not 2,999. It's exactly 3,000. And if you deny that, then you're going to go to prison 5 years. Or you have no access in our country because you are a threat. I watched one of Candace's videos related to her trip to Australia, and I'm going to read to you how she is introduced by Russia Today. But I understand that. I will tell you why. Russia Today is not Russia is not a monolithic country. It's a federation. It has many ethnicities, many religions. It's a multicultural society. So they can't allow this kind of thought penetrating their country. They keep a balance, right? But differently than these baboons here. So Candace Owens in that video talked about certain rappers. She's black, but doesn't really matter. Certain rappers who had criminal history for domestic violence, drugs-related offenses, and so on, allowed to go and in Australia, but she is not, because she is a threat, bad influence for the thought, poisoning the youth's mind. Do you remember who that was? Exactly, it was Socrates in Athens. He drank poison. Why? Because he was on trial for poisoning the mind of the youth. So she's poisoning the mind of whomever wants to hear them. So now it's a crime to want to listen to whatever you want to listen. And this is Australia, mate. All right, let's read this a little bit. This is how they introduce Candace Owens. Candace Owens has a history of making claims about Jews and Muslims, including expressing doubt over the Holocaust. Right-wing US commentator Candace Owens, known for her controversial views on race, gender and social issues, had been blocked from entering Australia for a scheduled speaking tour. The country's authorities have cited her capacity to incite discord, media has reported. Now, Australia's national interest is best served when Candace Owens is somewhere else. This is what Tony Burke, Australian immigration, decided for the Australians. So one man or one human being decide for many human beings what's at their best interest of thought. Owens, who has 18 million followers. You know what? Followers. I'm not talking about people who view and who agree with her. Followers. I wonder how many Mr. Minister appointed Tony Burke has. And we are not living in a, limited in Australia. Unbelievable? No. And I'm going to go further than that. Now, here you have, let's talk about this. You can make whatever claim you want. In a free world, as far as I remember, you can offend whomever you want. In a free world and free speech, you can do that. You can hate, as long as you don't act in a criminal way. And then including expressing doubt over that. And that is a crime in a few countries in Europe. Doubt. And remember, I don't know if you got my analogy here. I did not doubt that these are good glasses. They're not extraordinary. I did not deny these glasses cost a lot of money. I denied the price, the 3,000. And that is denying. You have expressed doubt. Yes, about some details. You are not allowed in a free world because the immigration guy said you cannot listen to her because that's bad for you. Well, if you're so afraid of how people think and what people say, that means you don't have the truth. You don't have the ability to expose the lie if you just ban people from entering. So I'm not going to read excerpts of what these guys say and so on. She just said something. I'm going to say about what changed with Candace Owens. This is what changed. She worked with Ben Shapiro. Jordan Peterson is still over there with Ben Shapiro. So I think he dirtied himself very much by censoring himself. Candace Owens stepped on someone's balls over there regarding some issues. And, Ben Shapiro and those guys over there, Daily Wire, whatever they are, my God, freedom of speech. Yeah, do it full. Unless you say a different narrative on two subjects. I saw Ben Shapiro all the time at one point. I like certain videos, but then I realized there are two subjects where he loses everything he claims he's got. But his logic, and being smart and fast. He's smart, he's logical, but once I figured that talking about Israel in the context with everybody else, and he's American, and the second one is Putin/Russia, it's another subject, he lost all credibility for me. Why? Because he was subjective, ignoring evidence, fact-based evidence. And remember, facts don't care about your feelings. Well, that changed on those two subjects. So Candace Owens attacked that, had her free speech, and she got in trouble and she got fired, or they part ways. And since then, she turned all real. That's the word, real. And now they are up to destroy her. We have to help her. All right, next. We'll see if her former friends or the friends that were her friends at one point will stay friends. Then it's the easiest way to figure out who's your friend and who's not, by helping them to stick their neck out for you, more or less. Next one. Russia Today. X suspends Iranian Supreme Leader's account. Okay, what did he say? Ayatollah Ali Khamenei's new Hebrew language page has been blocked by Elon Musk's platform violating its rules. Here is the evidence. So is what he said, or just because he has a new page speaking a different language? Elon Musk's X platform has suspended the Hebrew language account of Iranian Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei, a day after it was launched. These guys are fast, man. That tells you how easily how do you call it, when you're not certain, precarious your position is if you just jump right there. Don't say shit. But why? What did he say? I mean, if right now I start speaking Romanian and I'm US citizen with these guys, or I post on X in Romanian, will they close my account, my suspend, because I speak a different language than my citizenship? Is that what it is? No, it's not. So that Elon Musk is owned, as Jordan Peterson is working right now to get some money that he already has. Anyway, we make our own decisions, and we can also judge as much as we can. So Khamenei's new page, which was created on Saturday, became inaccessible on Sunday. Accounts suspended. X suspends accounts which violate the X rules. Okay, what are the rules? you will not be probably told. X has not yet provided any further explanation on the move. Okay, we will call, and I see, the ban came just hours after a message was posted on the page reading. And I'm going to go, Zionist regime made a mistake. It erred in its calculation on Iran. We will cause it to understand what kind of strength, ability, initiative, and will the Iranian nation has. Okay. I know you can interpret things depending on your worldview. So here is what he said, and it was done. On YouTube or on Facebook, you can be also banned with the same thing. You violated their community guidelines, not the community guidelines. Because if it's the, THE, then I am part of the community and many like me. But it seems like our views are not acceptable in the community. Therefore, is their community. I want to make sure my hair stays here. I don't wear anything. All right, just okay. So they give you this, and then they say you can appeal. And when you appeal, they say, well, sir, your appeal was rejected. Why? After the review. Who's reviewing it? Can I debate? No, we don't have the resources. So this is the freedom of speech. I have this kind of question. The Constitution applies to the land or to areas where, like, in my house, do I have freedom of speech? At school, the government has freedom of speech? Private companies, is protected or not? Because if you don't respect the freedom of speech, let's say, because this is the claim, you can say that the YouTube is a private or privately owned, they can make their own policies. Yeah, but you can't violate, the First Amendment, can you? And if you say yes, then everything in the Constitution can be violated in an institution, private institutions, according to that. That means everything that you have over there, women's right to vote, African Americans' right, could be infringed if we use the same logic. Which, try that in an institution. Imagine, let's say, you have I was about to say General Motors, but General Motors is not a private institution for a long time. It was bailed out by, it's owned, no. I don't know. An institution, a private company, I don't have to go to, let's say, Goldman Sachs, which is a bad example because it's owned. So let's say those guys say, well, from now on, this group doesn't vote in our team meetings. Let's say this one. What do you think will happen? Well, nothing to Goldman Sachs because they own us. But, if we use another company, that would be done as discrimination. But you can't say in the office certain things. Well, I'm going to show you this. I have a little paper here. And in this paper, I have some very good, very important documents that I'm going to talk about. Right? Is what you can't say in the state of Michigan job. I will show you in Basilic. So what's going on here? Well, obviously, freedom of speech doesn't apply. Applies only when they allow us to apply. Next, let's go to the next one. And this comes from Sputnik. Social network X blocks Hebrew account of Iranian supreme leader. Again, Trump promises not to fight foreign wars. That's going to be a lie. He is owned. He will. When I say owned, that means there are people who can affect his trajectory greatly. Very much influence. I think he's going to fight foreign wars for other country, singular. Voting for Kamala Harris would be a gamble with the lives of millions. All right, the Republican candidate said. Former U.S. President promised not to send Americans to fight and die in countries they have never heard of while addressing a crowd in the battleground state of Pennsylvania. Now this is weasel talk. Gotta tell you that. What do you mean never heard of their country, the name? And here, it says that Democratic rival Kamala Harris would get us into World War III, guaranteed, because she's too grossly incompetent to do the job, end quote. And I'm quoting again, to make her president would be to gamble with the lives of millions of people. Sons and daughters will end up getting drafted to fight in a war in a country you've never heard of, he said. He's talking only about Ukraine. That's what he's talking about. He's not talking about anything about the Middle East. Guarantee you that. In his nomination acceptance speech earlier this year, Trump vowed to end every single international crisis that the current administration has created. Yeah, but if we are attacked, and you start from the other angle, we've been attacked and we have to respond and our interests are affected, then we didn't create it. So every time you portray something that we do as not being of our making. We didn't create it, but we react. Like Saddam Hussein, we bombed the shit out of those guys and Gaddafi because they did something to us. We didn't create that. So in Syria, no, they did to us. Iran through the proxy war. So it's a weasel talk, basically. It's nothing. It's vomit. Why? Not because Trump might not think with big heart about, oh my, we gotta stop, but because the people around him will not let him. If he's trying to do that, I suspect he's going to, I don't know, have an accident, go to the emergency room, just something like that. Next, what's going on here? Last week, Trump, right here, he never offered specific plans to bring about world peace, but repeatedly warned that supporting and financing other people's war, he's talking only about Ukraine. I guarantee you. Last week, Trump claimed on his Truth Social platform that Kamala gets 4 more years, the Middle East will spend the next 4 decades going up in flames, and your kids will be going off to war. I totally agree with that. And I think once you get in the office, if you get in the office, you will follow suit. But I will not send you to fight and die in a foolish, never-ending foreign war. Are you going to bomb them? Are you going to bomb them? Remember, these guys, they know what they're talking about. You're not going to send you, but we're going to send missiles over there. And after we do that, they will attack us because they hate our freedoms here. But we have to fight them over there. That was the argument. We have to fight them over there so they don't come here. But why don't they come to Romania? To Bulgaria? Why don't they attack those countries? Or Zimbabwe? I tell you why. Because they're not involved over there and they don't protect someone over there. That's the truth. Hey, they hate our freedoms because we are the greatest. I would like to mention this. There's many other countries that are great. All right? Now, according to my standard, we have a long way to go to be great. But we are great compared with others and where we are as human beings. All right? But remember that we are not the only ones. Other people can vote too. All right? And so on. So again, they will bomb the shit and that's how they will bring peace. He will not. How is he going to do it? Order the generals to do something? They got the guns. Are you going to fire them? And who are you going to put over there? Going to put Jared Kushner or your daughter? And I'm straight right now because I'm angry about that. Sorry, I'm upset about that. I know I'm troubled about that. I'm troubled. You see how these guys make us change our language? No, I'm angry about it. But if you say, oh my God, there's an angry white man over there, what is he going to do? He's going to suck some dick? No, I just did a minute ago. So I'm all good. All right, let's move to the next one. While he said he's not going to fight other people's war, which is Ukraine and in the Middle East, he's just talking, Trump claims he would have prevented Hamas attack on Israel. Okay, that means you're involved somewhere. When he was president, he made sure Tehran had no money to fund its proxies, the Republican candidate has told Joe Rogan. But the other side had our billions coughed over there? Yeah. And then when these guys are going to do something to us, the civilians, not to him, to us as civilians, then they hate our freedoms? Is that how it goes? This is first grader level, man. Next one, let's see how these guys claim Joe Rogan is a coward. According to Blast, why Joe Rogan is being dubbed a coward after hosting Donald Trump on podcast. Because Donald Trump said a few times here that he had some very important, right here, Joe Rogan experience, that it had many people who endorsed him. The 45th president of the United States of America brought up his nicest endorsement from Elon Musk before urging Rogan, you should do the same, Joe. And then Joe was labeled a coward because he didn't do so. Well, you can look at this in many, many ways. First, we don't know what's in people's heart. We can guess, we can assess, we can listen to his statements. Sometimes you trust, you don't know. Only he knows. 100%. You can get to a certain understanding, that's true. So from this point of view, I don't know exactly if Joe Rogan, must necessarily endorse someone. On the other hand, sometimes in a fight, you have to join it. You have to join a side because that could prove maybe with very grave consequences for you. like I jumped on this because I understood that our civilization, this country that I love, my family, you guys, these great people, they will be turned into baboons. Not the baboons that we already have. No, people like that turn into. So I said, yeah, I gotta say something. They are lying. This guy's an imbecile. This guy's like this, and I have to join the thing, the man in the arena to a certain extent. And I love that by Roosevelt, by the first one, Teddy, not the Uncle Joe kind of lover, not the tyrant, the other guy, wannabe tyrant. So listen to that speech, the man in the arena. You have people criticizing you, but they're outside. They're on the sidelines jerking off and calling you names because I know today you made a grammatical mistake, or I know today, I don't know what you had. If you had an antenna here, or you didn't say something right, or you used this kind. But they are not in the arena. They're over there. They're fuckers. And that when you hear this guy, oh, I'm doing something right because I know they're not in the arena. Come over, fucker. Do your own thing. No, they try to destroy what you're doing. So again, Joe Rogan, I think right now if he puts his oars in his boat and he just stays like this, he has a long way to be going, just not doing anything. But I'm talking about the finances. Is he afraid he's going to be bankrupted by the guys in charge of us? Well, he's going to lose some money. Can they freeze his accounts? Yes, like I suspect Elon Musk's accounts will be frozen and so on. Why? If they did it to Russia, they will do it to whomever they want. They will find a reason. And they don't need a reason. They have the media who's going to give you the reason. All right? They're going to prepare you for that. So same, I don't know. That's his life. He can do whatever he wants. I don't endorse anybody. Why would I endorse? I go and vote. Why? You know, just to be calm. Nevertheless, work within the system. But sometimes certain actions are necessary for the times. But somehow we don't have those times anymore. Why? Because they tell us they're not here. They will never be here as long as they are in charge. But if someone that they don't like is going to be in charge, those methods must be used by anyway. And they're going to use us. Let's see how Israel used the airspace of Iraq, and these guys claim it was a violation. Iraq files complaint with United Nations of a violation of its airspace by Israeli aircraft. So the Israelis violated it. Now, if someone violates your airspace and crosses it, what do? You shoot it down. Remember when the Erdogan shot a Russian Sukhoi 24, I think it was in northern Syria, violated for a minute Turkish airspace, and they shot it down. Remember that one? These guys did not do it. That tells you they were told to stand down, or there was an understanding. Or they knew. They just pretend, and the Iranians know. Pretend. Why? Someone else told them, stand down, you have to allow them. Or what are you going to do? Shut an Israeli airplane over your airspace that violates your airspace? They're going to fuck you up like they do whatever they want over there. Now, United Nations will do nothing. The Americans will veto anything or everything that is going on. And Israel, after all, chosen, nothing can be done. So nothing will happen. But I think that's going to look good for the certain strata of the Iraq population. Oh, yeah, we protest. You let them go over. That's what is my gut feeling. Next one and the last one. Slovak Prime Minister warns of continued attempts on his life. Robert Fico. An armed man was detained at an event in early October. Robert Fico has revealed. Slovak Prime Minister has revealed that he faced a suspected second assassination attempt due to his stance on the Ukraine conflict. The incident earlier this month came after Fico survived a shooting in May by an individual who was reportedly sympathetic towards Kiev. Reportedly? Oh, there's still doubts over there. Fico said the man hates him because of his attitude towards Ukraine. According to the Prime Minister, a fully loaded weapon was found on his suspect when he passed through a metal detector. Wow, what did he expect? What did he expect? No, I don't have a gun here. It's like... Anyway, now I don't know if that was, planned or not. Could be. The problem is this, not even the problem. The situation is this. We have people over there who, will act upon their whatever they have. You have to defend yourself. You have to protect yourself. You have to do everything you can legally to, avoid. And then if that person is apprehended before, so that guy tried to go to a metal detector and the other guy was on the roof actually shooting a few rounds at President Trump. And you're telling me that, if Fico enters the CIA's radar, well, we have Allende, we have many others, many examples. He's toast. Why? CIA will just airlift him and bring him to Washington, D.C. for safe keeping. But is it going to be warm or any pulse, or is it going to be... Thank you very much for being me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.